We're having way too much fun this morning. It's Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. Stick to sports! Ohio State University announced this morning the head football coach Urban Meyer will step down after the team's Rose Bowl appearance in January. Offensive coordinator Ryan Day is set to take over for him in the head coaching role. Week 13 of the NFL wrapped up last night. The Eagles thumped Washington 28-13. Carson Wentz threw for 306 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and an interception. The Eagles are now a game back of Dallas in the NFC East. And your Sacramento Kings are back in action tonight. They're in Phoenix to take on the Suns. Our coverage on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 4:30. Kings Live is at 5:30, and then tip-off with the G-Man, Gary Gerald, is at 6 o'clock. It's 8:04. Time to call Sierra Pacific to get up to $1,600 off a new Lennox furnace. Keep your home cozy and warm this winter. 800-551-3040 or SierraPacificHome.com. Those are your top stories. Now time for the third hour of the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Our thanks to Katie Hunter. She hunts Katies all over the world. She's a superhero. She will be on the pre-half and post-game show, making her return tonight. And the Kings family, all of us here, Kings fans, very happy she's coming back. KHTK with your pregame coverage at 5:30, tip-off 6. Kings versus Suns right here tonight. Matt Barrows is going to join us here in a couple minutes. Talk 49ers. We haven't talked to Matt since the Reuben Foster news broke. Be interesting to hear from Matt, who's as connected as anybody, how that all went down internally with the 49ers from the moment the news came out until the release. Great job, Kyle. Great job. Today is National Cookie Day. Kyle started on if Kings players were cookies. Ben Macadamia 3, or the third. This one might be the winner in the clubhouse right now. Jason Williams White Chocolate Macadamia Nut. That's
That's strong.
Whoopi Cauley-Stein is actually a very good one, but also kind of geographical too. Because what are those Whoopi bars? Whoopi somethings. I think that's the whatever with the filling.
Whoopi pie.
Whoopi pie. Thank you. Isn't that a Philly thing? I think that's an East Coast thing. I could be wrong. Before we get, as we get to Matt, show you how much I use my home office, Kyle. I have a little room that I've turned into an office. I hadn't been there in a while because my wife turns it into like laundry storage. Apparently the toilet upstairs sprouted a leak. We didn't know it. Going to the office over the weekend. It has leaked through my wall, through the paint, and now there is a musty smell, mustier than usual, in my office. I've never had this type of problem before, but apparently I have to get a plumber, rebuild half the house, hope that homeowners insurance covers it, or you'll see me at your friendly neighborhood golf course getting range balls or doing something for a second income. Peanut Buddy healed. No. And an update here from the 916. Now, this guy texted in last week saying if he finished last place in his fantasy league, and I'll vouch for him, he texted this last week. I remember the text. The punishment, and sometimes in fantasy leagues, people lay out different punishments for whoever finishes last place. Usually it's like you have to wear a shirt to the draft the next year that says loser, or stuff like that. You have to buy all the beer, the pizza, whatever. This guy has to take a Greyhound bus 1,000 miles in any direction and then come back. Now, I'm assuming because he's from the 916, he's in Sacramento or somewhere around there, so I don't think he can take the Greyhound bus west. So he has to take a Greyhound bus north, south, or east, 1,000 miles. And if you're listening, sir or ma'am, let me know what direction, how that's determined, if it's random, if they decide. But he has to take a Greyhound bus, Kyle, 1,000 miles somewhere.
I'm going north. I'm going to the PNW.
That's what you'd want to do. But if you're his friends and they get to pick, I'm probably sending him to, like, I don't know, what's 1,000 miles? New Mexico? Phoenix? Something?
Huh.
Ugh. Joining us right now, a guy who travels
I'd go to Phoenix.
1,000 miles and more to cover the San Francisco 49ers for you. He writes for The Athletic. As always, especially around the holidays, really, The Athletic has some amazing – a lot of people think – I got letters last week when we had Matt and Sam on, Sam Amick, like, how much does The Athletic pay you? When did you start endorsing The Athletic? Matt, I'm going to be honest with everybody, and I hope you'll back me up here. I don't get a dime off The Athletic. I get writers from The Athletic, which is payment enough. There's no official or unofficial relationship. I truly believe it's a great deal, so damn it, go out there and take advantage of one of these offers right now. Get a free trial and read all this awesome stuff at theathletic.com. Hello, Matthew.
Oh, hey guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You're always angling for swag. I feel like you really want that hoodie, that extra large hoodie. You know what, Dave? I'm gonna get you that hoodie.
Thank you.
Nice.
It's the last thing I do. Both you and Kyle may be getting some swag. It may be several months away. There's a bit of a delay on these things, but once you get them, I mean that hoodie is so nice. It's my favorite article of clothing.
Well, we're on the video broadcast now too, so
it would just be advertising full time.
Getting free.
Oh my God, they would just go nuts over that.
No, Matt, no swag is necessary. 2X at all. I'm just
1X for me.
2X to
Not
have
necessary.
you on whenever you wish.
Down 2X, 1X. Got it? Okay, go ahead.
And I believe we talked about a hat and perhaps The Athletic yarmulke. So either way, 'tis the season right now, by the way, and happy Hanukkah to everybody
That's
out
right.
there.
Happy Hanukkah to everyone.
Well, absolutely. All right, Matt, I want to move on to last week's game and other stuff going on, but you and I haven't had a conversation since the Reuben Foster news came down last weekend, and we've obviously heard about it, read about it. He's already been claimed by Washington. But talking to you, and as I said before you came on, you're insanely connected. Can you just walk us through as best you can the process between the Niners hearing of the news and the Niners cutting ties with Reuben?
Oh, well, there's not much to talk about. Sure. I mean, Kyle Shanahan said that as soon as he heard that someone had been arrested in the team hotel and that it was Reuben Foster, and that it involved the same ex-girlfriend that he was entangled with in the spring, he knew exactly what was going to happen. And they had to get the principals involved. Remember, it happened late on Saturday night, so they had to get John Lynch and the Yorks and Kyle Shanahan together the next morning to officially make the decision, and they did, but I don't think that it took very much time at all to reach that conclusion. So, as soon as Shanahan got a phone call and said, there's a problem, Reuben Foster was arrested, he knew exactly what was going to happen.
Kyle and I, not Shanahan, Madson, Kyle and I came to the same conclusion we were talking last week. We both understand the knee-jerk of they gave him one too many chances going back to the draft incident than the incident before. We both kind of came to the conclusion that it wasn't that simple, Matt, that the Niners did their due diligence. The story was pulled. The incident was retracted by the accuser, and this happens to be the same accuser. Do you feel like the Niners waited too long and should have dealt with Reuben Foster earlier, or do you think they did all they could leading up to this?
It's in hindsight, you can always come up with things that they should have done. Drafting him 31st would probably be the first thing that you would do differently. But once they did that, and they knew how, I don't want to say flimsy, but how unsubstantial that case in the spring was going to be, it's hard to critique them for what they did. Remember, they didn't allow Foster to be with the team. Although they did support him, they had their in-house guys checking in on him. Should they have known that he was living with her in October of this year? Yeah, probably. But Kyle Shanahan's point, I thought, was a good one. Is that you can't babysit somebody 24 hours a day. I mean, part of the reason that you're trying to help them is to give them the license to become adults and to live on their own. And so they obviously gave him some of that wiggle room, and he didn't take advantage of it. He did not. This is the theme. He was not able to detach himself to extricate himself from some of the bad elements of his past. And he had a very checkered, hard-scrabbled background. I mean, just as awful as you can imagine in this country. And that, I think, afforded him some leeway. But at some point, you have to have the strength of character, the maturity to leave that behind. And Reuben Foster was not able to do that. Hopefully he can. But that's what worried the 49ers, and their worries turned out to be well-founded.
Matt, I want to jump over to Sunday's game real quick. The Niners obviously got blown out in Seattle. And again, story of the season, a couple turnovers was the difference. But we saw guys like Dante Pettis and Jeff Wilson really stand out. Is that a scenario is that kind of an ideal scenario, do you think, for the 49ers, where maybe they're not losing games and losing draft position, but they're getting performances or getting strong performances from Pettis and Wilson and the younger guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think the bigger picture of that is that it shows that the offensive scheme works, that you can plug different guys into it, whether it's Matt Breida or Raheem Mostert or Jeff Wilson, and they can gain yards on the ground. That Pettis and Goodwin and Kendrick Bourne at various times look good, and that they're able to move the ball, and that's been a theme this year. So that part of it looks good. What they're missing is somebody to make plays, and the hope is that adding one or two pass rushers and really augmenting that aspect of the defense will sort of be a trigger to make everything else work a little bit better. If you've got a better pass rusher, maybe the Seahawks don't score on I forget what the yardage was, but a deep pass to Tyler Lockett where he's being covered by a linebacker. That's a scheme issue. In this scheme, sometimes the linebackers have to follow a wide receiver across the field and deep. But, I mean, if you're getting a pass rush, then Russell Wilson doesn't have time to make that throw, and Tyler Lockett doesn't have time to get 50 yards downfield. All of that works together. So that's going to obviously be topic A for this team, or task A, rather, in the offseason. Find somebody to rush the passer. And I think another task is just overall competition. Push guys like Akella Witherspoon in the offseason. Push guys like Adrian Colbert in the offseason. Just don't hand them the jobs because they were spotty to start the season. I think the whole team was. I feel like the offseason training camp, there wasn't a level of competition that there had been the previous year and in other camps that I've covered. And I think that needs to change. That's just sort of an attitude change for the 2019 offseason.
Talking with Matt Barrows of The Athletic. Matt, there's something I want you to shut down or possibly, I guess, tell me I'm wrong on here. I feel like the contingent of 49er fans on the internet that are in the fire Robert Saleh train are pretty far off base, and it sounds like you might agree based on what you said about the necessity of a pass rush. Do you think he gets next season?
I do. I mean, I think that's what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. I just looked today. Like the baseline stats are good.
Yeah.
This team ranks 12th in overall defense. That to me is shocking, just given what we've seen. They don't make plays. They don't make takeaways. I mean, there was a stat that Josh Dubow from the Associated Press put out yesterday, is that the 49ers through 12 games have 5 takeaways. You have to go back to I can't even say this without laughing. You have to go back to 1940 to find fewer takeaways through the first 12 games of the season. That is a ridiculous stat. 1940. You can't even tell me who the president was in 1940. Was it Woodrow Wilson? I don't know who it was.
It was FDR.
FDR.
It was FDR.
Okay, you guys can't. You guys can't because you're really smart.
That's still a long
Good
time.
job.
Your points.
Bravo. You know what? I'm going to get you both a hoodie and a hat.
Why don't you
for that.
get us an athletic pocket protector? Your point stands, Matt. That's
My
a
point
really
stands.
long
My
time.
point stands, right. But my point is, to go back to Kyle's question, is that the defense, the scheme itself seems to be working okay. Now, having said that, I thought it was interesting, and I'm writing about this in my mailbag right now, that yesterday Kyle Shanahan went back to that theme that he struck before the bye, which is I'm using these last few games of the season to really evaluate everybody to see who wants to be here for 2019. And when he talked about this a couple of weeks ago, he seemed to be focused on players, guys like Akella Witherspoon, guys like Adrian Colbert, young players. He wants to push these young players to make sure that he's squeezing the most out of them, and that they're making gains over this last stretch. Well, yesterday he was on that theme, but he mentioned the coaching staff as well, that he's evaluating them. And I don't think that it's Saleh per se that he's evaluating, but there have been busts in the secondary throughout the year. There have been busts at wide receiver throughout the year. To me, those two position coaches are probably under the most heat. And if there are changes, my guess, and it's just a guess, is that that's where they would come.
Matt Barrows of The Athletic joining us. So let's push Robert Saleh aside. I want to ask you a question I don't think I've asked you this year, and I don't know that it's appropriate to ask you right now, Matt. John Lynch was hired in late January of 2017. That gives him 2 drafts so far. The hiring of Kyle Shanahan, the what else? The trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, amongst other things. When you look at John's draft history, and a little bit of that was probably unfairly or maybe fairly called into question with Reuben Foster this week, but how do you grade out John Lynch? And let's remember, a guy that some people question his experience coming into this draft, or into that job. Do you think he's acquitted himself well?
Yeah, I mean, those first 2 picks are huge. I mean, that's where you start. When you're talking about this rebuild, you start with the number 2 pick in the draft, which turned into the number 3 pick, and they got other picks because of that, and that needs to be added into the equation. But neither of those 2 guys has worked out. Yeah. The jury's still out on Solomon Thomas, but boy, there's very little when you watch him that you say, oh, okay, he's getting it. He's going to be really good next year. You just don't get that impression at all. Very, very little impact when he's in the game. He hustles, and the point was made by I guess it was Shanahan that he wants to be out there. I guess that's
awesome.
That's a positive. He doesn't want to be on the sideline, but
right.
that's about it. You just don't see a lot of positivity. You don't see the guy who was a wrecking ball at Stanford,
yeah.
and that's what the real disconnect is. I mean, where did that guy go? And to me, it's got to be sort of a confidence issue. They're playing him largely in the same spot that he did at Stanford. He's just going against much bigger and better players. That to me is the difference. And he doesn't really know what to do. Will a light go on? Does it just click at some point? I don't know. I don't know what the learning process was at Stanford, whether he was lost in the woods and then suddenly got it. That might be a good off-season story to do, but right now it's just not clicking. And so when you take that into account, that's a big first step that an incoming GM needs to make. He needs to hit on those 2 picks. And the 49ers, right now, it looks like a major whiff. So you're not going to get a great grade when that's what you're starting out with.
You can read Matt Barrows at theathletic.com. Matt, before we sign off, today is National Cookie Day, and I'm curious, if you could only have one cookie for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Chocolate chip. I mean, a chocolate chip cookie, and maybe sometimes 2, depending on if I had a bad day, that I put in the microwave for exactly 13 seconds. and then it comes out and it's hot, but it's not too hot that you burn the roof of your mouth. But there's nothing better than a chocolate chip cookie in the microwave.
You know, this Matt, God bless you. We've been together a long time, and it's such a great point. A lot of people don't realize that. You can even take Chips Ahoy cookies right out of the bag, and whether you put them right on a plate or some people wrap them in a paper towel, 10 to 15 seconds, you've got it down at 13. Not a lot of people realize that, Matthew.
It's my death row dessert.
Yeah,
I mean, some people would go for a really expensive tiramisu or something like that. I'm just going for the chocolate chip cookie. I'm going to go out like I came in. Very, very simple.
The chocolate chip cookies of 49er coverage, you can find it at The Athletic. Just go to theathletic.com, hit NFL, go right to the 49er logo, which is right there in front of me, and boom, you've got all kinds of stuff from both Matt Barrows, David Lombardi, and many others giving you absolute unrivaled coverage of the San Francisco 49ers. We appreciate your time, Matty, and we'll talk to you in a week.
I'm still smarting on how you guys schooled me on that FDR thing. I'm going to feel that for a while.
You old sack B guys. Wait till I call Willis.
Good job. Bravo. Well done.
Take care, pal. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye. That's Matt Barrows. In Matt's defense, I think if the situation was reversed and we were talking to him, you got to think FDR on the fly. I mean, he's probably good FDR, but I'm
guessing his mistake was saying, I don't even know who the president was. Like he was trying to just say, but
if we'd have asked him, if we'd have brought him on and said, hey, Matt, we have a trivia question for you. Who was the president of the United States in 1940? Right. I'll bet you he gets it.
Yes.
Absolutely bet you he gets it. But you put it on the fly like that, it's tough. Besides, FDR, who remembers him?
Imagine just making an offhand comment and it turning into... Wow. Dude, open a book.
Wow, that Virginia education. We'll take a break. You know what I really feel like right now? Not just cookies. I wish there were some cold, hard facts going on.
Well, I've been thinking about retiring. That's a cold, hard fact.
What?
And Peak Financial wants to talk retirement.
Oh, okay.
Luckily for me, I'm going to dial pound 250 and say the word money.
Money. Kyle's Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Coors Light. I certainly hope. Do we have a slew? Do we have a handful? Do we have a couple?
We have a couple.
We have a couple.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I may have to grab some backup Cold Hard Facts.
Yeah, you definitely will.
I'm on it. We're back in a couple. Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. Ohio State University announced this morning that head football coach Urban Meyer will step down after the team's Rose Bowl appearance in January. Ryan Day, the offensive coordinator, is set to take over for Meyer as the head coach. Week 13 of the NFL finished up last night. The Eagles thumped Washington 28-13. Carson Wentz, he was very good for Philly with 306 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and an interception. The Eagles are now a game back of Dallas in the NFC East. And the Sacramento Kings are back in action tonight in Phoenix to take on the Suns. Our coverage right here on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 4:30. Kings live at 5:30, and tip-off is slated for 6 o'clock. It's 8:31. Time to call Sierra Pacific to get up to $1,600 off a new Lennox furnace. Keep your home cozy and warm this winter. 800-551-3040 or SierraPacificHome.com. Those are your top stories. Now it's time for Cold Hard Facts on the Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Here we go. The drive continues now.
What's on tap? Coming up in just about 15 minutes. I can save you the suspense. What's on tap? Not a lot.
The Kings are playing.
Except the Kings. And man, am I happy about that. Life's always better when the Kings have a game, even when they suck, but when they're halfway decent. Kyle, I'll say it now. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I started my night show in 2005, which was towards the end of the King. Well, it really was the end of the Kings playoff run. I don't like to bring that up a lot because then some schmuck out there is going to be like, well, that's why.
No, because they made the playoffs in 06.
Yeah, I've gone 13 years of being on the air here, and I've had like one good year of the Kings. When this team is a playoff team, much less a title contender, this city goes on its ear. And I can't wait. It'll never be the same as 02 because technology is different now and blah, blah, blah. But this city will go insane. The station's different. Everything's different. Life is just better. Cereal tastes better. Cookies taste better.
Can't wait to dust off my Kings gear.
That's right. You and the rest of the Warriors fans. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Coors Light. Kyle Madson, do we have a thing to play?
Oh, yeah, we do.
We got a thing to play. The voice guy.
It's time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Fact of the Day. Here's Kyle Madson.
That's what I just said. Kyle Madson right there, brought to you by Coors Light. Cold Hard Fact numero uno.
In 1940, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the president of the United States.
That's so bad. That's so poor Matt Barrows.
That is today's Cold Hard Fact.
Today's Cold Hard Fact, FDR was the president in 1940.
Hey, watch out for the Eagles. They've got talons, and they're flying all over the place.
I was going to say, he's a national bird.
Carson Wentz is getting his groove back. He went 6 of 7 and threw for a career-high 100 yards on passes outside the pocket on Monday. All of those passes came off play action. Wentz also set a career high with 163 play-action passing yards.
Jeez, that's pretty good. You know, this just in, the Eagles are pretty good when Carson Wentz is healthy, but are they as good as when Nick Foles is playing?
Oh, snap. We'll find out this year.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Foles.
If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, you got to think about starting him over Wentz, right?
Maybe trade Wentz to the Jaguars.
Ooh.
Cold Hard Fact number 2.
This is via ESPN Stats and Info. Stephen Curry outscored the Hawks 18-17 in the first quarter last night.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 seasons, he's outscored his opponent in a quarter 11 times, the most in the NBA. His teammate Klay Thompson has done it 8 times, which ranks second in that span.
A bully for Steph Curry. I saw a video of Steph yesterday. God, he makes it hard to not like him. He
does make it hard.
He was talking to. I think it was before a game. He was talking to. Okay, I don't want the guy singing over me. He was talking to a kid in a wheelchair. I don't know what the affliction was, but the kid was just a smile on his face, and it wasn't one of those, "Hey kid, let me sign this, take a quick photo, move on." It was like, "Oh hey, so have you been to a game before?" He's like, I came to see you play, Steph, and you came back." And he's like, "Oh my God, really?" And the cameras were on, but it was a good 3-4 minute conversation, and you could just tell he was really engaged and truly, Steph was truly into it. That plus the fact that he wrote the letter to the little girl with the shoes, the fact that he writes in Disney font. I want to hate him. I can't. I like him. I really like Steph Curry.
And that's a cold, hard fact.
No, it's not. That's like a cold, hard opinion. It's a warm, soft fact.
Adrian Peterson at 33
Good job.
Adrian Peterson at 33 years old became the oldest player in NFL history to score a 90-yard touchdown. He finished the night with 98 yards.
Yeah, that's not good.
I love that.
He ran for 90 in one play.
He had 9 carries for 98 yards. Like, man, AP, great night. But you don't know that he averaged 1 yard per carry.
Dude, what do you think? There's no way for you to answer this because you and I aren't really Betty. But what do you think the odds were? He bust that out, early first quarter. What do you think the odds you could have gotten that he won't break 100 yards?
Like plus 1,000.
It had to be exactly. It would have to be something just stupid.
Yeah, you figure, okay, he gets 10 more carries.
He gets 10. All he needs is 11 yards, let's say, to go to 101. 11 yards over 3.5 quarters.
8 yards. I think it's funny how much sports messes with our perception of age. Because Adrian Peterson is ancient.
Right.
He has been around forever. And he's like a few years older than I am.
Exactly. He's younger than I am.
I knew I was old when I reached the age where I read about a prospect that was 2 years younger than me in baseball, and they were like, "Hey, he's kind of washed up now." 25-year-old.
Right.
And they're like, he's done.
But remember when we were younger and we'd look at these guys and they really were old to us?
Yeah.
Like ancient.
Yeah.
That's why I like Adam Vinatieri. He's older than me.
Yeah.
He's
shout
still
out
playing.
to Adam Vinatieri.
Shout out to him making us feel good.
The Kings play the Suns tonight.
They do. That's a fact.
That's a cold, hard fact.
Cold, hard fact.
Phoenix is the only team in the NBA with fewer than 5 wins. They're the only team in the West with fewer than 11 wins.
Oh, dear. That's some separation.
The East has 7 teams under 11 wins.
This is a trap game, isn't it? It's a trap game.
It feels like a trap game.
Oh, God. Please win tonight. Can we just Can we just go in there and win by like 28?
Right, like go up by 15 in the first quarter and don't look back.
Just
don't
put
let
them out.
Do not let them hang around.
Did I just turn on a microphone?
Yeah, you turned on a microphone.
Just by hitting the...
I think you touched a button. There you go.
Hi. Okay, back to you, Kyle, at the Cold Hard Fact desk.
Yeah, this is one of those games where if you let the Suns hang around, they're still looking at the Kings uniform and going, "Oh, it's the Kings. This is a game we can get."
Right. This might be the one.
Yeah, just put them out of their misery in the first quarter. Go up 20.
I don't want to look up tonight and find that Alex Len has 50.
Good, because Alex Len doesn't play for the Suns anymore.
My point is, I don't want to see that, regardless of what team he's on. I don't want to look up and see, all right, I don't want to be watching the Kings-Suns game tonight and look up and see Josh Richardson have 50.
Alex Len's box score is going to...
I don't want Dragon Bender to go for 28 and 14. All right, I finally picked a Sun. Where is Alex Len? I lost track of him.
He was on, not the Clippers, the Pacers?
Who cares?
Magic? Is he with the Magics?
Sure. Do you have any more cold hard facts?
No.
All right. I have some warm, soft facts for you. Kyle, keep this in mind. Heart attacks are more likely to happen on a Monday. Did you know that?
That does not surprise me. Alex Len plays for the Hawks.
Told you. Heart attacks increase by 20% on Mondays. Most common time for them to happen is between 4 and 10 a.m. In 2017, more people were killed from injuries caused by taking a selfie than by shark attacks. There were 35 deaths caused by selfie in 2017. There were 5 due to shark attacks. I have in front of me the top 6 foods that give you gas. Would you like to take a guess?
Beans?
Correct.
Brussels sprouts?
Incorrect.
Ooh. Okay.
Beans, corn.
Milk.
Milk is correct.
Does milk and dairy...
The remaining 3 are vegetables. So we have beans, corn, and milk.
Broccoli?
No, but very close to broccoli.
Broccolini.
No.
Broccoli raw.
No, like the white version of broccoli. You know what I mean.
You said, yeah, broccolini.
Cauliflower.
Yeah.
Cabbage and bell peppers. How about that? A lion's roar is 114 decibels, roughly 25 times louder than a gas-powered lawnmower. A lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away. I also find this one tough to believe. St. Lucia is the only country in the world named after a woman. Really? There isn't like a Victoria or something? St. Lucia is the only country in the world?
Isn't there a Victoria, Alberta?
Yeah, but I guess that's not a country. That's Canada.
Oh, yeah.
We got to go here. What would you call a baby spider, Kyle?
Dead.
It's called a spiderling. And finally, the United States Navy has started using Xbox controllers for their periscopes. The control stick for periscopes is so complicated, using Xbox controllers reduces the learning time from hours to minutes. Another bonus, Xbox controllers cost $37,980 less than the previous control system.
That's hilarious.
I love that.
That's
Whoever
great.
thought of that deserves a star or something honoring them. We'll take a break. When we come back, what's on tap? We'll let you know what's going on tonight. We'll talk a little Kings. And finally, Kyle, do geese see God? Why did I ask you that? Because that sentence is a palindrome. Yeah, that's right. Do geese see God? Same front, same back. I like palindromes. We'll take a break. That should be the show title if it wasn't for, what is it?
Luka Doncic does not exist.
Luka Doncic doesn't exist. What's on tap next? Sports 1140 KHTK. What's on tap? Brought to you by Kyle being on his phone. That's right. Kyle on his phone is something that I have learned to ignore. Kyle's got a lot of things he's got to do, whether it's tweeting, receiving tweets, sending texts, or taking care of business. When you need somebody to send a text message, just call Kyle on his phone. Was that passive-aggressive? I feel like that was passive.
It was extremely passive-aggressive, especially since we
sorry.
just had a conversation where you were like, bro, if I had a problem, I would tell you.
I don't have a problem. I tell you. No! You're spinning all kinds of plates. You deserve to use your phone. I use mine.
I honestly, I've reached a point where because I'm listening. It's like a nervous tick where I'm just on Twitter scrolling and not even reading anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Like I'm literally just scrolling, and if I see something that looks funny, I might stop, but I don't. Like I said, I'm just there. I'm scrolling and I'm listening.
It gave me a sponsor. Feel good. Kings and Suns tonight. 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. Right here on the Sporty 1140 on the TV side, you see the return of Katie Christensen, and we appreciate her joining us earlier along with Matt Barrows at 7:30 and 8 o'clock respectively on the Fire Wings hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com, just wing it. Kyle, breaking news from the world of betting. My goodness, I just caught this. Where's my bed? Sacramento Kings line at the start of the show was
betting.
Favored by betting, wagering, if you will. Kings were favored by 6 at the start of the show. Kings now favored by 5.5.
Oh, snap.
What
a lot
happened?
of money coming in on the Suns.
Is that because Marvin Bagley will not be playing tonight? We don't know. We don't know that for sure. We know he is a game-time decision.
I don't think he would move the line half a point.
He's a GTD. If I had to guess, and my guesses run about 50-50 on this, my guess is if he's a game-time decision, you got a flight to Phoenix, it's pretty quick. I'm still going to – if he's still a game-time decision, I would say this would be the game they wouldn't play him in.
I think so, too.
You got a road trip coming up.
Yeah,
that you're on right now.
Make sure he's good to go for the rest of the road trip
Yeah.
rather than try and push him. Hey, Peak Financial wants to talk retirement. Not with Marvin Bagley.
No.
Just
long way from that.
Just in general. Dial pound 250 and say the word money.
Money!
Money!
They fly from Phoenix to Cleveland. I don't, I always wonder about these. I'll have to ask somebody about this. The game's tonight, and they play in Cleveland Friday. God, I hate that. So, Kyle, do you think that they fly home after tonight's game, stay Wednesday in Sacramento, stay tonight in their beds, Wednesday night in their beds, and then fly out Thursday for a Friday Cleveland game? Or do you think they fly to Cleveland directly from Phoenix?
I would probably fly home and make the road trip as short as possible. If it was like a flight to Dallas, it'd be different, but that flight to Phoenix is easy.
What do we have, 4 minutes left?
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Get Grant on the phone, would you? You have his number, right? Just call.
Yeah.
Just call him just call him real quick. Phil, come on. I want to ask him. That's going to bother me, and I feel like it's going to bother a lot of people listening right now. And you know what we do? We ask questions and we get answers. I was just about literally to tell Kyle. I was just about to tell Kyle what Grant's phone number was on the air, and I stopped myself. This is a game the Kings should win. And I don't like saying that.
It's 339-1140.
Yes, it is. If you want to give Grant a text him at 44-1140. I don't like saying it's a game the Kings should win because oftentimes I'm not confident enough as a Kings fan yet. I don't care if they're 11-11. I'm not confident enough as a Kings fan to say that. I feel like the Kings could lose any game at any point still. I don't know if I'm at the point where I expect the Kings to win any game, much less Kings on the road. I do have a feeling you might see some Harry Giles tonight. I do have a feeling you might see Harry Giles tonight, Kyle. Was Grant sleeping?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to text a guy.
This is a game the Kings should win. I know that there's I'm outside observer here who has not gone through the lows of the last decade.
Sure.
And this is a game they should win. As a quote-unquote neutral observer.
I want to shout out our amazing text line because one guy, oh, nope, they're going to Cleveland. All right, got the answer right there from a person that knows things. They're going to Cleveland. We asked earlier when we were talking about difficult to pronounce names, could you make your best, what would be the best team you could put together with the most unpronounceable names? It's when we were talking to Katie about Bogdan and Bojan Bogdanovic. Well, somebody apparently has been working on this for the better part of an hour. So your starting point guard is Milos Teodosic. Your shooting guard is Svi Mikhailiuk of the Lakers, I believe. Teodosic of the Clippers. Juancho Hernan Gomez would be your small forward. Really, over Bojan Bogdanovic? I don't know. Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course.
Antetokounmpo, yeah.
Shut up. Is your power forward. Boban Marjanovic is your center. Ryan Arcidiacono.
Really good.
And have I said this before? When he was in college, I actually thought his name was Archie.
I did too. I learned that his first name is Ryan.
Like at the draft.
Right now.
Oh, right now? I thought his name was Archie Diacono. I don't know the rest of you. Frank Nikitalina.
Yeah. The Knicks.
Getting into your bench. Rodions Kurix.
That's the guy that invented the instant coffee machine.
Zaza Pachulia Kostas Antetokounmpo. Gershon Yabusele, Nikola Vucevic, Luka Doncic, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Bojan Bogdanovic, Nikola Jokic, and Salah Mejri.
Underrated hard name to spell, Pat Connaughton.
Is it C-O? It's the only part I'm going to mess up. I'll bet you I get the rest of it. It's either C, I think it's C, it's C-O or C-A. I just need to get that part, and I think I can get it. C-O.
Okay.
N-N. A-U-G-H-T-O-N.
Yeah. You nailed it.
We should do sports spelling bee someday. Those are fun.
I need this.
Can I give you one?
Yeah.
We just talked about it. Have you gotten Antetokounmpo?
Yes.
Give it to me.
A-N-T-E-T-O-U. O-U. Dang it. Hang on. The music's throwing me off. Hang on.
Turn down the music. That's fine.
Antetokounmpo. A-N-T-E-T.
All right. Why don't you, let's start over. Go
O-K.
ahead. A-N-T-E-T-O-K.
O-U-N-M-P-O.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And in a spelling bee, as long as you don't say the wrong letter, you can always start over at any time. That's within the rules.
When I type it, I don't even have to think about it.
Oh, I'm Kyle. When I type it, I don't have to think about it. And Mike
we're late. We're super late. We got to go right now.
Be the head coach, by the way. Jim Rome is next. That's easy. Thanks to Katie. Thanks to Matt Barrows. Thanks to Eunice. Thanks to Kyle.
R-O-A-M.
I'm Carmichael Dave. Enjoy the rest of your broadcast day right here on Sports 1140 KHK. Bye-bye.
The Brantley Pierce Show with Doug.